Sports history is built on defining moments, game-winning shots, impossible comebacks, and split-second decisions that changed everything. But what if even one of those moments had gone differently? A single trade, a different draft pick, or a slight change in timing could have altered everything we know about the biggest legends in sports. Today, we're diving into 10 of the wildest what-if scenarios in sports history. Scenarios that, if they had actually happened, could have rewritten entire leagues, shattered legacies, and changed the way we talk about sports today. So let's get into it. 10. What if Kobe and Shaq never split up? First up, we're looking at one of the most legendary duos in NBA history, Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. From 2000 to 2002, they dominated the NBA, winning 3 straight championships. But their relationship deteriorated, and Shaq was traded to the Miami Heat in 2004, ending the dynasty. But what if they had never split? What if the Lakers had found a way to keep them together? The possibilities are endless. Maybe they win 5, 6, or even 7 championships, surpassing Michael Jordan's Bulls. The NBA's entire landscape could have shifted, and Shaq and Kobe would have been the undisputed greatest duo of all time. Instead, we got 2 separate legacies, both legends, but forever marked by what could have been. Now, imagine if that dynasty never crumbled. Would Kobe have retired with more championships, and would Shaq's career look different? Could we have seen even more explosive performances in the postseason? A dynasty that never ended would have reshaped how we view modern NBA teams, setting the bar even higher for future duos to come. 9. What if Tom Brady was never drafted by the Patriots? Next up, let's talk about the GOAT of football, Tom Brady. The 199th overall pick in the 2000 NFL Draft, barely considered worth a roster spot, yet he became the greatest quarterback ever. But what if Bill Belichick and the Patriots never took a chance on him? If Brady had ended up elsewhere, maybe on a dysfunctional team like the Cleveland Browns, he might have never reached his full potential. Without Brady, the Patriots dynasty doesn't happen, and we could be talking about a completely different quarterback as the greatest of all time. The NFL would be a very different place without Brady's success. Would Peyton Manning's legacy look different without Brady's shadow? Would the early 2000s have seen a different level of quarterback play dominating the league? Brady's absence would have created a ripple effect, possibly pushing younger quarterbacks to fill that void, or reshaping the legacy of teams like the Colts or the Steelers. Brady didn't just change the Patriots, he redefined the expectations for the entire league. 8. What if Michael Jordan never retired in 1993? Now, let's dive into one of the most pivotal moments in NBA history, Michael Jordan's retirement in 1993. Coming off 3 straight championships, Jordan shocked the world by stepping away from the game to pursue baseball. But what if he never retired? Would he have won 8 straight championships instead of 6? Would the Bulls have dominated the league for even longer, denying teams like the Houston Rockets and Hakeem Olajuwon their titles? The entire 90s NBA landscape would have been completely altered, and Jordan's legacy might be even more untouchable than it already is. What if Jordan's relentless drive had continued without interruption? Would the NBA have witnessed an even greater version of Jordan, evolving as a player, learning new ways to lead his team? Could he have pushed his body to new limits, extending his career and cementing his place as the GOAT in a way that few could ever challenge? 7. What if LeBron never played in the NBA? Moving on, we're looking at another major what if that would have completely altered the NBA. LeBron James was labeled the chosen one before he even played a game, but what if he had never made it to the NBA? What if an injury in high school derailed his career, or he decided to pursue football instead?
Lucky for you guys, that day is not today.
Without LeBron, the NBA landscape of the 2010s would look radically different. No Heat super team, no 2016 Cavaliers comeback, and no GOAT debates with Michael Jordan. A different player might have taken the spotlight as the face of the NBA. Could players like Kevin Durant or Stephen Curry have claimed the throne as the new face of the league? Would the NBA's global popularity have grown in the same way without LeBron's influence? LeBron wasn't just a player, he was a global ambassador, helping to shape the future of the sport. Without him, the league's trajectory could have looked unrecognizable. 6. What if Kobe never died? Next, we address one of the most heartbreaking what-ifs in sports. What if Kobe Bryant were still here today? His passing left a massive hole in the basketball world, but imagine what he could have achieved post-retirement. From mentoring younger players to potentially owning an NBA team or even coaching, Kobe's influence could have extended far beyond basketball. What if he helped revolutionize the sports culture even further? What if his daughter Gianna reached the WNBA? The possibilities are endless, and it's impossible not to wonder how much more he could have contributed to the game. Would he have eventually transitioned into a coaching role, building a new dynasty with a fresh generation of players? Could he have helped bridge the gap between old school and modern basketball in a way that no one else could? Without a doubt, his presence would still be shaping the future of basketball today. 5. What if Floyd Mayweather had lost his first fight? Next up, we move to the world of boxing. Floyd Mayweather's undefeated 50-0 record is iconic, but what if he had lost his first fight? In boxing, momentum is everything, and an early loss could have derailed Mayweather's entire career. Would the Money Mayweather persona even exist without the undefeated record? Would he still have become the highest paid athlete in history? A single loss early on could have altered not just Mayweather's legacy, but the entire boxing landscape, affecting rivalries, pay-per-view sales, and the sport's star power. Had Mayweather suffered that early loss, would it have been another fighter that emerged as the face of boxing in the 2000s? Would the sport have taken a different path in terms of its biggest matchups? Or would Mayweather's trash-talking and brash persona have still won over the public? The fight business could have turned out a lot differently with a lost record on Mayweather's resume. 4. What if Marshawn Lynch ran the ball instead of Russell Wilson throwing it? Now, let's talk about one of the most controversial play calls in Super Bowl history. With 26 seconds left in Super Bowl 49, the Seahawks were on the 1-yard line. They had Marshawn Lynch, arguably one of the most dominant power backs ever. The logical play? Hand it to Lynch and let him bulldoze into the end zone. Instead, Pete Carroll called for a pass, resulting in an interception by Malcolm Butler. The Patriots won, and the Seahawks' chance at back-to-back Super Bowl titles evaporated. If Lynch runs the ball and scores, the Seahawks could have become a dynasty. One play call, and everything changed. How would the NFL have viewed Russell Wilson? Would his legacy have been forever altered by another Super Bowl win early in his career? And for the Seahawks, would they have built a dynasty around that back-to-back championship instead of becoming a what-if team? 3. What if LiAngelo Ball played in the NBA? Next up, let's look at the Ball brothers. Lonzo became a top draft pick. LaMelo is on his way to superstardom. But what if LiAngelo had made it to the NBA as well? After his shoplifting scandal in China, Gallo's NBA dreams were sidelined. But what if he'd stayed on track? Imagine the chaos if all three Ball brothers had played together in the NBA. Would the Hornets or Lakers have become the next big dynasty? Would LiAngelo's presence have boosted Lonzo's career? The Ball family could have been an even bigger force in basketball culture. Would the NBA have embraced the Ball brothers' story as the new standard of family dominance? And could LiAngelo's path to the NBA have sparked new interest in the developmental league and alternative paths to the NBA? 2. What if Victor Wembanyama played in the NFL instead of the NBA? Next up, we have the 7 feet 4 inch prodigy, Victor Wembanyama. The NBA is buzzing with anticipation for his potential, but what if he had chosen football instead? With his height, wingspan, and agility, he could have been a nightmare as a tight end or defensive end in the NFL. Would he have revolutionized football? Could he have dominated the sport the way he's expected to dominate basketball? It's a fascinating what if that would have dramatically altered both sports' futures. If he had chosen football, would teams have completely redefined the position of tight end or defensive player just to match his athleticism? Imagine an NFL where a 7-foot player was the ultimate weapon, capable of blocking, receiving, and wreaking havoc on defense like no player before him. 1. What if ishowspeed actually beat the fastest man alive? And finally, let's wrap up with a completely wild one. What if ishowspeed, the internet's chaotic streamer, actually beat the fastest sprinter in the world? This would have broken the internet in the most hilarious and unexpected way. Can you imagine Speed becoming a legitimate athlete, endorsed by brands and competing in actual races? It would have been one of the most absurd and memorable crossovers between sports and entertainment, changing the entire perception of internet personalities in the world of athletics. Would Speed be invited to join future track meets? Would other influencers start training to compete in real sports, changing the way athletes from all walks of life gain recognition? Final thoughts. Sports history is filled with defining moments, but it's the what ifs that keep fans debating forever. A single decision, a missed opportunity, or a different career path could have rewritten everything we know about the greatest players and teams. Some of these what ifs will always remain a mystery, but that's what makes sports so incredible. One moment, one choice, and the entire game changes forever. Which of these do you think would have had the biggest impact, and do you have your own wild what-if scenario that would change sports history? Let me know.